The AM radio fuzzed out just as the newscaster mentioned something about the Canyon Ridge development. 2 boys, ages 6 and 9, hadn't come home. Last seen at the bus drop on Elm and Hawthorne. Same corner every day, same quick walk home. It was less than 3 blocks and they never made it. I turned off the radio and parked in the driveway. Quiet, finally. I didn't need the rest of that segment. I'd listened to enough nonsense at work, and silence in this car was rare. I turned the key, let my arms fall, and leaned back into the seat like it might swallow me whole. 11 hours on my feet, half of them arguing with middle managers who didn't know a hard day's work if it punched them in the jaw. The thoughts started anyway. Was the heater still broken? Had the garbage made it to the curb this time? Were the dishes stacked like ceramic bricks around the sink again? I stayed in the car a little longer. The porch light was on, but the rest of the house was dark. Only the upstairs bathroom window glowed faintly. Back when we first moved in, there were nights Rachel and I would drive around this very neighborhood, dreaming about which houses we could live in. That was before Emma, before 2 promotions and her job imploded from the inside. She left because the environment was toxic. She never said exactly what that meant, said she just needed time, space, to figure out her next move. Now it was me clocking overtime, bringing in everything. She floated the idea of me taking on remote work in the evenings, freelance web design. Flexible, she said. Easy money. I told her I didn't even remember what flexible felt like. The pack of Camels in the glove box called to me. I hadn't smoked in over 3 years. Rachel hated it. But tonight a smoke sounded less like a habit and more like rebellion, like spitting on a rule just to feel like I existed. I held the pack in my hand for a long minute. Then I sighed, shoved it back, and got out of the car. I kicked my shoes off in the front hall and hung my jacket on the hook by the door. Something was off immediately. The kitchen table was empty. No dinners in the fridge note. No cold rice or overcooked chicken thighs waiting with a passive-aggressive clatter of fork on plate. Just nothing. From the living room, a sound, not a crash, not voices. Something lower. A sniffle? Maybe a sob. I rounded the corner slow. Rachel was on the edge of the couch, arms curled tight around our neighbor, Margaret Jensen. Margaret looked like someone had unplugged her. Her husband, Ron, sat beside her, staring into space. His right hand clenched and unclenched slowly on his knee. Rachel glanced at me and gave a tiny shake of her head. Something was very wrong. "Can you sit?" she said softly. I nodded, slid into the recliner. The Jensens turned to me, masks of pain poorly taped to their faces. "Ben," Ron said. His voice was raw. "We need help." Rachel jumped in. Their boys, Dylan and Micah. They didn't come home today. They got off the bus like always, but they never made it back. The living room didn't seem to breathe. "They're just gone," Margaret said quietly. "They didn't have a reason. They don't run off. They know to come straight home." "They were seen?" I asked, trying to grasp something tangible. "Someone saw them get off the bus." "The driver," Ron said. "And another mom. That's the last anyone saw. They're searching now. All around the creek trail, behind the old tennis courts." A tight silence formed like fog. I hadn't known the boys well. We waved in passing. They were a little older than Emma, private school kids. But the news twisted something in my chest, the thought of kids just vanishing. A dark question surfaced. What if it was more than coincidence? What if Emma had been with them? I swallowed and said nothing. We already combed the neighborhood, Ron said. Police are everywhere. They're doing what they can. I looked at the way Margaret clutched her glass of water, the way Ron kept wiping his glasses even though they were clean. I wanted to be useful. I offered to check the woods behind our yard. They declined. The police were already covering it. Still, the image of fog and dark trees lingered. Eventually, they left. Rachel and I watched from the porch. Inside, I splashed cold water on my face in the upstairs bathroom, hoping it would shock my nerves quiet. It didn't. I could still hear Margaret's hollow sobs in my head. An hour passed, then 2. It was late and Emma was already asleep when I checked on her. She lay on her side, tucked in tight, back to the door. I whispered her name just to be sure. No response, but she shifted slightly. I let out a breath and closed the door. Rachel was in bed, a book open in her lap, eyes fixed on the middle distance. I didn't say anything. She didn't either. The planned fight about finances, housework, all of it. It felt ridiculous now. I went downstairs. The fridge was bare except for cheese, bread, and condiments. I started on a sandwich, flipping the kitchen light on. That's when I noticed the back door was slightly ajar. I closed it, locked it, but something out the window caught my eye. Movement in the far corner of the yard. I stepped closer. Just a flicker. 2 glints of light. Probably raccoons nosing through the compost again. I turned on the backyard floodlight. Nothing. Still, I figured I might as well take the compost bin out. It was overflowing. The yard was dead quiet. The chill was sharp, unexpected for May. I made my way toward the compost pile by the tree line. As I dumped the bin, something stopped me cold. The lights again. Not on the ground this time, higher, almost level with my eyes. I squinted. 2 pale faces, half hidden behind the trees. My brain tried to make them into animals, shapes, tricks of the light. Then one of them spoke. "Ben," a voice said, "can you help us?" It was a boy's voice, small, unsure. My stomach dropped. "We're cold," said the other voice. "Please." I stepped forward. My legs moved without permission. My breath clouded in the air. The closer I got, the more the illusion broke. These were faces, boyish, familiar. Dylan and Micah. Except their eyes were wrong. Pupils fogged, wide as if etched in chalk. Their skin glowed faintly, blue and gray. They didn't blink. They just stared. "We got lost," said the first. "We just want to come home." Something about their voices didn't sit right, like an actor fumbling a child's cadence. I stopped short of the edge of the trees. "You've been gone all day," I said slowly. "People are looking for you, your parents." "But we're not the only ones," the second voice said. "Emma's here too." The air left my lungs. "What?" "She got stuck in the woods too," the first said. "We were playing. She followed us. Then we all got lost." I stumbled back a step. I had seen Emma. I'd checked. I was sure. But was I? I never touched her. Never heard her voice. "Come help her, Dad," one of them said. That word, Dad, hit like a punch. Then I saw them for what they were. The heads floated, supported by long, stringy arms. Arms too long, too thin, like spiders folding upward from the dirt. Tattered sleeves hung from bones. The faces twitched and swayed like loose masks. Something moved behind them. A third shape, smaller. "Come on, Daddy," it said. "We're scared." It wasn't Emma. I knew it wasn't, but the voice. It was her voice, except off, like someone playing a recording on the wrong speed. I ran. I didn't stop until the back door was locked and bolted. Then I raced upstairs. Emma was in bed. I touched her hair. She stirred. "Daddy?" she mumbled. I cried silently while Rachel slept beside her on the cot. The police came. Again. They swept the woods. Nothing. They listened, nodded, wrote notes, said stress played tricks on tired minds. But they stayed close. More neighbors reported strange sightings, figures in the dark, voices that didn't belong. By the end of the week, 3 more people said they saw the Jensen boys near their properties. Then another child went missing, Lucas Ortiz, 2 blocks over, gone from his own backyard. We left town that weekend, stayed with Rachel's brother in Fresno, took Emma out of school. A part of me hated it, running. But another part knew. Whatever was in those woods wasn't finished, and it didn't matter if we believed. It only mattered if it noticed.